She looked like any other exhausted passenger, eyes closed, head resting against the window, completely unaware of the world around her. Nobody knew she had 7 confirmed kills. Nobody knew she'd flown over 200 combat missions. Nobody knew, until the captain's terrified scream shattered the silence. Any fighter pilots on board? Before you watch full story, comment below from which country are you watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more amazing stories. The Boeing 747 cut through the clouds at 35,000 feet. Inside the cabin, everything seemed normal. Passengers read books. Children watched movies on small screens. Flight attendants pushed carts down the narrow aisles. In seat 14A near the window, a woman slept. Her name was Sarah Mitchell. She wore jeans and a simple gray sweater. Her brown hair fell across her face. She looked tired. Maybe she worked too hard. Maybe she had been traveling for days. That's what the other passengers thought when they looked at her. The old man in seat 14B glanced at her and smiled. "Poor thing must be exhausted," he whispered to his wife. His wife nodded. "Let her sleep. She probably needs it." A flight attendant named Maria walked past with a tray of drinks. She saw Sarah sleeping and moved extra quietly. She didn't want to wake her. The cart made a small noise. Maria froze. But Sarah didn't move. She kept sleeping peacefully. "Coffee? Juice?" Maria whispered to the passengers in row 13. "Coffee, please," a businessman said softly. "But keep it quiet. That lady behind me looks like she hasn't slept in days." Maria poured the coffee carefully. No loud sounds. No sudden movements. Just quiet service while the sleeping woman rested. Nobody knew who Sarah really was. Nobody knew what she could do. Nobody knew that the peaceful, tired-looking woman in seat 14A had once flown F-22 Raptors at speeds faster than sound. That she had completed over 200 combat missions. That she had shot down enemy aircraft in 3 different war zones. That military commanders called her the Phantom because she appeared from nowhere and vanished just as fast. Nobody knew that Sarah Mitchell was one of the most dangerous pilots alive. She just looked like someone who needed sleep. 2 hours passed. Sarah kept sleeping. The flight continued smoothly. The captain made a brief announcement about the weather in Los Angeles. Everything seemed perfect. In the cockpit, Captain James Porter checked his instruments. Everything looked good. His co-pilot, David Chin, was reading through the flight plan. "Smooth flight today," James said. "Finally," David replied. "After last week's turbulence nightmare, I'll take boring any day." James laughed. "Boring is good in our business." But 30 seconds later, boring ended. A voice crackled through the radio. It was air traffic control. But something was wrong. The controller's voice was shaking. "Flight 417, this is ATC. We have a situation. Stand by for emergency instructions." James and David looked at each other. James grabbed the radio. "ATC, this is Flight 417. What kind of situation?" The controller's voice came back fast. "Too fast. Flight 417, you have 2 unidentified aircraft approaching your position. Speed approximately Mach 1.5. They are not responding to our calls. Military has been notified but..." The radio cut out. Then it came back. Different voice. Military voice. Hard and direct. "Flight 417, this is Sierra Command. You have hostile aircraft closing on your position. They will intercept you in 4 minutes. We have fighters scrambling but they won't reach you in time. Do you understand?" James felt his mouth go dry. "Hostile? What do you mean hostile?" "They're locked onto you for 117. Someone wants your plane. We don't know why. We don't know who. But you need to take evasive action. Now." David's hands started shaking. "Captain, I don't know how to." James didn't know either. He was a commercial pilot. He knew how to fly straight, how to land safely, how to handle turbulence and storms. But combat maneuvers? Hostile aircraft? That wasn't in his training. "Sierra Command, we're a commercial 747. We can't outrun fighter jets. We can't fight. What are we supposed to do?" Silence on the radio. Then, "Pray for 17. Just pray." James Porter had flown for 20 years. He had handled engine failures. He had landed in terrible storms. He had stayed calm through everything. But not this. His hand shook as he reached for the intercom. He needed help. Any help. He pressed the button. And he screamed, "Any fighter pilots on board?" His voice exploded through every speaker in the plane. Loud. Desperate. Terrified. In the cabin, people jumped. Books fell. Drinks spilled. Children started crying. And in seat 14A, Sarah Mitchell's eyes snapped open. The screen cut through Sarah's sleep like a knife. Not because it was loud. Because of the words. Any fighter pilots on board. She had heard those exact words before. 9 years ago. In a briefing room. During a terrorist situation. When everything had gone wrong and someone needed a combat pilot immediately. Her body reacted before her mind fully woke up. Her hand went to her seatbelt. She clicked it open. She was standing before she even knew she was awake. The old man next to her stared. Miss, are you okay? You should sit down. The captain sounds worried and... Sarah didn't hear him. She was already moving down the aisle. Fast. Focused. Passengers watched her walk past. Some looked confused. Others looked scared because of the captain's scream. But everyone noticed that the tired woman who had been sleeping peacefully now moved like a soldier. Maria, the flight attendant, saw her coming. Ma'am, please return to your seat. There's an emergency and... I know, Sarah said. Her voice was different now. Not soft. Not tired. Art. Military. I need to talk to the captain. Right now. Ma'am, I can't let you into the cockpit. Especially not during... Sarah stopped. She looked directly at Maria. My name is Colonel Sarah Mitchell. United States Air Force. Fighter pilot. Combat veteran. The captain just asked if there were any fighter pilots on board. I'm the only one. And if you don't let me into that cockpit in the next 30 seconds, everyone on this plane is going to die. Maria's face went white. You're a fighter pilot? Yes. Now move. Maria moved. Sarah reached the cockpit door. She knocked. Art. 3 times. Military knock. Captain. Fighter pilot. Open up. Inside the cockpit, James and David heard the knock. They looked at each other. Did someone actually? David started. Open it. James shouted. David unlocked the door. It swung open. Sarah stepped inside. The 2 pilots stared at her. The tired woman from seat 14A. Jeans. Gray sweater. Messy hair. You're a fighter pilot? James asked. He couldn't believe it. Sarah nodded. Colonel Sarah Mitchell. F-22 Raptor pilot. 214 combat missions. 7 confirmed kills. Tactical squadron commander for 3 years. Now tell me what we're facing. James felt hope flood through him. 2 hostile aircraft. Coming at us fast. Military says they'll intercept in 3 minutes now. Maybe less. Sarah moved to the instrument panel. Her eyes scanned everything. Altitude. Speed. Heading. She absorbed it all in seconds. What kind of hostiles? She asked. They didn't say. Then I need to see them. Sarah looked at David. Can you pull up the radar? David's fingers flew over the controls. A screen lit up. 2 red dots appeared. Moving fast. Getting closer. Sarah studied them. Her mind raced through possibilities. Speed. Trajectory. Attack pattern. They're not military fighters, she said quietly. How do you know? James asked. Because military fighters would have announced themselves. These are staying silent. That means either stolen aircraft or privately modified jets. Either way, someone wants us badly enough to risk everything. What? Why would anyone attack a commercial flight? Sarah shook her head. Doesn't matter right now. What matters is staying alive. Captain, I need you to trust me. Can you do that? James looked at this woman. This stranger who had been sleeping peacefully minutes ago. Now she stood in his cockpit like she owned it. Confident. Calm. Deadly serious. Yes, he said. What do we do? Sarah pointed at David. You. Take the controls. What? Why? Because the captain needs to help me and you're about to learn some maneuvers they didn't teach in flight school. David's hands gripped the controls. They were shaking. Sarah noticed. It's okay to be scared. Fear keeps you sharp. Just listen to exactly what I say. Don't think. Don't hesitate. Just do it. Understood. Understood. Good. Sarah turned to James. Captain, I need you to get on the radio. Contact those hostiles directly. Emergency frequency. They're not responding to anyone. They'll respond to me. Trust me. James switched frequencies. He handed Sarah the radio. She spoke. Her voice was ice cold. Unidentified aircraft pursuing Flight 417. This is Colonel Sarah Mitchell, United States Air Force. You are engaging a civilian aircraft in protected airspace. Break off immediately or face military response. Silence. Then a voice came back. Mel. Angry. There's no military response coming, Colonel. By the time your fighters arrive, We'll have what we want and be gone. Now tell the captain to decrease altitude to 20,000 feet or we open fire. Sarah's jaw tightened. Negative. Flight 417 maintains current altitude and heading. Then we shoot you down. Try it. James grabbed Sarah's arm. Are you insane? They'll kill us all. Sarah looked at him. No, they won't. Because if they wanted us dead, we'd already be dead. They want something on this plane. Probably a passenger. Maybe cargo. But they need us alive to get it. That gives us leverage. Leverage? Against fighter jets. Against whoever's flying them. Those pilots don't want to die either. The hostile voice came back. Last warning, Colonel. Descend now. Sarah keyed the radio. Here's my warning. I'm a combat pilot with 7 confirmed kills. I've flown in 3 war zones. I've survived situations that should have killed me. And right now, I'm the only thing standing between you and the 300 innocent people on this plane. So no, we're not descending. We're not surrendering. And if you fire on us, I will personally make sure that everyone knows your voice, your face, your name. Military intelligence is recording this conversation. You can't hide. You can't run. Your life is over the moment you press that trigger. Think about that. Silence on the radio. Long silence. Sarah waited. She knew how this worked. The pilots attacking them were mercenaries. Hired guns. They wanted money, not death. Finally, what do you want, Colonel? Break off. Leave us alone. Disappear. Nobody needs to die today. Can't do that. We have orders. Then disobey them. I did once. Saved 73 lives. Best decision I ever made. Another pause. Sarah could almost hear them thinking. We're being paid a lot of money. And you can't spend it if you're dead or in prison. Last chance. Break off or I guarantee you won't see tomorrow. The seconds ticked by. James held his breath. David gripped the controls so hard his knuckles turned white. Then, you're bluffing, Colonel. You're on a 747. You have no weapons. No way to hurt us. Sarah smiled. It wasn't a friendly smile. You're right. I have no weapons. But I have something better. I have 327 passengers, 63,000 pounds of fuel, and absolutely nothing to lose. You want to see what a combat pilot can do with a 747? Fire on us. I dare you. You can't. Watch me. Sarah turned to David. On my mark, descend to 30,000 feet. Fast. Maximum descent rate. That'll terrify everyone on board. Better terrified than dead. Do it. Now. David pushed the controls forward. The 747's nose dropped. The plane started descending. Fast. Passengers screamed. Objects flew everywhere. The old man in 14B grabbed his wife. Maria grabbed a seat. Everyone thought they were crashing. But Sarah watched the radar. The 2 hostile aircraft had been diving toward them. Now they had to pull up to avoid collision. They shot past, missing the 747 by hundreds of feet. Level out. Sarah commanded. David pulled back. The plane leveled. Passengers were crying, praying. Some were sick, but they were alive. Sarah keyed the radio again. Still want to play, boys? Because I can do this all day. Your jets are fast, but they're small. They have limited fuel. This 747 can fly for hours. And every maneuver I make, you have to react. Eventually you'll run out of fuel. Or you'll make a mistake. Either way you lose. Silence. Then, this isn't over, Colonel. Yes it is. Break off. Last chance. More silence. Sarah waited. Counted seconds in her head. 10, 20, 30. The hostile voice came back. But different now. Defeated. Breaking off. But someone wanted that plane badly. They'll try again. Let them. I'll be ready. The 2 red dots on radar changed course. Turned away. Started disappearing. David stared at the screen. They're leaving. Yes. James collapsed into his seat. What did you? Sarah put down the radio. I called their bluff. They weren't willing to die. Most people aren't when you make them really think about it. But what if they had fired? Then I would have done exactly what I said. Turned this 747 into the biggest, meanest weapon in the sky. Would it have worked? Maybe. Maybe not. But they didn't know that. Fear of the unknown is a powerful weapon, Captain. James looked at this woman. Really looked at her. Who are you? Sarah smiled. Tiredly. Just someone who wanted to sleep. But apparently the universe had other plans. The plane continued toward Los Angeles. In the cabin, flight attendants tried to calm passengers. Everyone wanted to know what happened. Why had the plane dropped like that? Why had the captain screamed? Maria made an announcement. Ladies and gentlemen, we experienced a brief emergency, but everything is under control now. We apologize for the turbulence. We'll be landing in Los Angeles shortly. But people weren't satisfied. They wanted answers. In the cockpit, James was on the radio with military command. Sierra Command, hostiles have broken off. Flight 417 is secure. Copy that, 417. Our fighters are still en route. They'll escort you to LAX. Stay on current heading. Understood. Sierra Command, I need to report that we had assistance from a passenger. Fighter pilot. She saved us. Fighter pilot? What's her name? James looked at Sarah. She was leaning against the cockpit wall, eyes closed. She looked exhausted again. Colonel Sarah Mitchell, James said into the radio. Silence on the other end. Long silence. Then, did you say Sarah Mitchell? Yes. Why? Flight 417, hold on. New voice. Older. Authority. Captain Porter, this is General Marcus Hayes. Did you say Colonel Sarah Mitchell is on your aircraft? Yes, General. She's right here. Let me talk to her. James held out the radio to Sarah. General wants to speak with you. Sarah opened her eyes. She took the radio. General Hayes. Been a while. Sarah. What the hell are you doing on a commercial flight? Going home, sir. We're trying to. Vacation. The general laughed. It wasn't a happy laugh. Vacation. Right. Sarah, do you know who was on that plane with you? No, sir. Ambassador William Chin. He's sitting in first class. Someone wants him dead. Or kidnapped. We're still figuring out which. Those hostiles weren't random. They were a hit squad. Sarah's eyes widened. Ambassador Chin? The one negotiating the peace treaty? The same. If they'd gotten to him, the whole treaty falls apart. Maybe starts a war. You just saved more than 300 lives on that plane, Sarah. You might have saved thousands. Sarah was quiet for a moment. I didn't know, sir. You didn't need to know. You did what you always do. You protected people. That's why you were the best pilot I ever commanded. Was, sir. I'm retired. Doesn't look retired to me. Listen, when you land, security will meet you. We need a full debrief. And Sarah? Thank you. For everything. Just doing my job, sir. Your job was sleeping in seat 14A. You went way beyond that. Sarah smiled slightly. Couldn't help myself. Old habits. She handed the radio back to James. The captain stared at her with something close to awe. You saved an ambassador, he said quietly. You saved all of us. And you didn't even know why you were fighting. I knew enough. People were in danger. That's all I needed to know. David turned around from the controls. Colonel, I have to ask. When you made us dive like that, were you really prepared to turn this plane into a weapon? Sarah met his eyes. If I had to. Yes. Without hesitation. But I knew it wouldn't come to that. How? Because I understood those pilots. They were hired. But professionals doing a job. And professionals don't die for a paycheck. Not if they have a choice. I gave them a choice. They took it. James shook his head in wonder. They teach you that in flight school? No. They teach you that in war. Real war. Where every decision means life or death. Where you learn to read people faster than instruments. Where instinct matters more than training. How many missions did you fly, Colonel? 214. And how many times did you almost die? Sarah thought about it. Really thought about it. Honestly? Every single time. But I learned something important. Almost dying isn't the same as dying. As long as you're alive, you can fight. You can think. You can win. Even on a commercial jet with no weapons? Especially then. Because when you have nothing, you have to use everything. Your mind. Your voice. Your courage. Fear is a weapon too. I used theirs against them. 30 minutes later, the plane began its descent into Los Angeles. Through the cockpit window, Sarah could see 2 fighter jets flying alongside them, escorting them home. She recognized the aircraft type immediately. F-16s. Good planes. Reliable. She'd flown with F-16 pilots many times. One of the pilots came on the radio. Flight 417, this is Hawk 2. We've got you covered for the rest of the way. Nice flying up there, whoever handled that situation. Sarah took the radio one last time. Hawk 2, this is Colonel Mitchell. Thanks for the assist. Pause. Then, Colonel Mitchell? The Colonel Mitchell? Ma'am, it's an honor. We studied your combat tactics and training. You're a legend. Sarah felt uncomfortable. She never liked being called a legend. Just another pilot Hawk 2. Just another pilot trying to get home. Copy that, ma'am. But for what it's worth, you're the reason a lot of us joined the Air Force. Glad you're safe. Sarah handed the radio back and returned to her seat in the cockpit. She watched Los Angeles growing larger in the window. Behind her, James said, "They called you a legend. They're being polite." "I don't think so. I think they meant it." "What did you do, Colonel?" "In the war." Sarah was quiet for a long moment. "Things I'm proud of, and things I wish I could forget. Save people. Lost people. Did my best every single day. That's all any of us can do, Captain. Will you tell me about it sometime?" "Maybe. If you buy me coffee first." James laughed. "Deal. Coffee and answers. After we land. After I stop shaking." "Fair enough." The 747 touched down at LAX perfectly. Smooth landing. James had done thousands of landings, but this one felt special. Because everyone on board was alive. Safe. The plane taxied to a remote gate. Not the normal terminal. Security gates. Military vehicles everywhere. Through the window, Sarah could see soldiers. Black SUVs. Official vehicles. They were taking this seriously. The plane stopped. James made an announcement. "Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Los Angeles. Please remain seated. Security personnel will be boarding the aircraft. This is standard procedure. Thank you for your patience." Passengers grumbled. They wanted to get off. They'd been through enough. But within minutes, security teams came aboard. They were polite but firm. Everyone would be interviewed briefly. Just a few questions. Then they could go. In first class, Ambassador Chin sat calmly. He was an older man. Gray hair. Kind eyes. He'd been on his laptop the whole flight. Working on the peace treaty. He had no idea that people had tried to kill him. Security came to him first. Explained the situation. His face went pale. "Someone tried to? But we're safe? How?" One of the security officers smiled. "Fighter pilot, sir. Happened to be on board. Pure luck. I'd like to thank them." "I'll arrange it, sir." Sarah was still in the cockpit when the security team came for her. They were respectful. Professional. But there were a lot of them. "Colonel Mitchell? Please come with us." She stood. Looked at James and David one last time. "Good flying today, gentlemen. Both of you." James stood and shook her hand. "Thank you. For everything. You saved my passengers. My crew. Me. You would have figured something out." "No. I wouldn't have. I had no idea what to do. But you did. You always knew. That's the difference between someone like me and someone like you." Sarah squeezed his hand. "The difference is that you admitted you didn't know. That takes courage too, Captain. Never forget that." She walked out of the cockpit. Through the cabin. Passengers stared at her. Some had heard whispers. Some had seen her go into the cockpit. They were starting to understand. The old man in seat 14B stood as she passed. "Miss, Colonel, whoever you are. Thank you. My wife and I, we're going to see our granddaughter. First time meeting her. Because of you, we'll get that chance." Sarah felt her throat tighten. "Enjoy every moment with her, sir. Every single moment." She kept walking. Maria, the flight attendant, caught her arm. "Colonel, I'm sorry I didn't believe you at first. When you said you were a fighter pilot, I just—" "It's okay. I wouldn't have believed me either. I look like I should be in bed, not in combat." Maria laughed through tears. "You're a hero." "No. Just someone who refuses to let innocent people die if I can help it." They took Sarah to a secure room in the airport. Lots of questions. What happened? What did the hostiles say? What weapons did they have? How did she make them break off? Sarah answered everything. Clearly. Completely. Professional debrief. She'd done hundreds of these. General Hayes was on a video screen. He watched and listened. When the questions ended, he said, "Sarah, those hostiles are still out there. We tracked them as far as we could, but they disappeared. They'll report back to whoever hired them. Those people will know we have a fighter pilot protecting the ambassador." "Good. Let them know. Maybe they'll think twice. Or maybe they'll try harder next time. I want you on Ambassador Chen's security detail." Sarah frowned. "Sir, I'm retired." "I know. But I'm asking. Not ordering. Those hostiles knew your name. They'll research you. Figure out you're the best. If someone wants the ambassador badly enough to hire fighter jets, they won't stop. We need you." Sarah thought about it. She'd left the military for good reasons. She was tired. Done fighting. She just wanted peace. But then she remembered the old man in seat 14B. going to meet his granddaughter. Because Sarah had been on that plane. How many more people would die if she said no? How long, she asked. 2 weeks. Just until the peace treaty is signed. After that, the ambassador goes home. The threat ends. And my vacation? General Hayes smiled. Consider this a working vacation. See Los Angeles. Protect an ambassador. Maybe save the world a little. Sarah sighed. You always did know how to sell a mission, sir? Is that a yes? It's a yes. 2 weeks. Not a day longer. Thank you, Sarah. I'll have your team assembled by tomorrow. Top people. The best. They better be. I don't work with amateurs. Would I give you amateurs? Yes, you did. In Syria. Remember? The general laughed. That was different. We were short-staffed. I almost died. But you didn't. You're still here. Still the best. I'm getting old, sir. You're 39. That's not old. Feels old after 200 missions. Then this will be an easy mission. No flying. Just watching. Protecting. Sarah stood. Sir, if I'm protecting the ambassador, I need to know everything. Who wants him dead? What? What's at stake? I'll send you the classified files tonight. Read them. Memorize them. Tomorrow morning you meet the ambassador. Brief him. Keep him alive. And if the hostiles come back? Then do what you always do, Sarah. Win. That evening, Sarah sat in a hotel room. Secure hotel. Guards outside. Computer with encrypted files on the desk. She read everything about Ambassador Chin. About the peace treaty. About the countries involved. About who would benefit if the treaty failed. The more she read, the worse it got. The treaty would end a 20-year conflict. Save thousands of lives. Bring peace to 3 countries. But some people didn't want peace. They wanted war. Because war made them rich. Powerful. Those people had hired the fighter jets. And they would hire more. Assassins. Bombers. Whatever it took. Ambassador Chen was walking into a death trap. And he knew it. But he was doing it anyway. Because someone had to. Someone had to be brave enough to risk everything for peace. Sarah understood that. She'd done the same thing. Every mission. Every flight. Risk everything for something bigger than herself. She kept reading. Names. Faces. Organizations. Mercenary groups. Terrorist cells. Everyone who wanted the ambassador dead. It was a long list. Her phone rang. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer. But instinct told her to. Hello. Colonel Mitchell. Male voice. The same voice from the hostile aircraft. We need to talk. Sarah's hand tightened on the phone. How did you get this number? Does it matter? Listen carefully. What happened today was a warning. Next time we won't ask nicely. Next time we'll just shoot. Then you'll die. Maybe. Or maybe we'll succeed. Either way, the ambassador doesn't reach that peace summit. You understand? I understand you're scared. You broke off today because I called your bluff. Now you're calling me because you want me scared too. But I'm not. I've faced worse than you. Much worse. Have you faced missiles, Colonel? Because that's what's coming. Missiles. Bombs. Bullets. We'll hit that ambassador from every direction. You can't stop all of it. Watch me. You're just one person. One person is all it takes. I've proven that before. I'll prove it again. Silence on the phone. Then, why are you doing this? The ambassador isn't your family. Isn't your friend. Why risk your life for him? Sarah thought about the question. Really thought about it. Because someone has to, she said finally. Because if good people do nothing, evil wins. Because I have skills that can save lives. And if I don't use those skills, then what was the point of learning them? Noble. Stupid. But noble. Call it what you want. But know this. I'm not leaving the ambassador's side. Not for 2 weeks. Not until he signs that treaty. If you come for him, you come through me. And I promise you, I won't be sleeping this time. We'll see, Colonel. We'll see. The phone went dead. Sarah sat in the dark hotel room. Thinking. Planning. Preparing. Tomorrow the real work began. The peace treaty was signed on a Tuesday afternoon. Cameras everywhere. World leaders shaking hands. Ambassador Chin smiling. 20 years of war, ended with signatures on paper. Sarah stood in the back of the room. Watching. Alert. Ready. But no attacks came. No bombs. No bullets. No fighter jets. The mercenaries had tried. 3 different times. But Sarah had been ready. Every time. She'd spotted the threats. Stopped them. Kept the ambassador alive. Now it was over. After the ceremony, Ambassador Chin found her. Colonel Mitchell, I never properly thanked you. For the plane. For the last 2 weeks. For everything. Sarah shook his hand. You don't need to thank me, sir. I was just doing my job. Your job was being on vacation. Instead, you spent 2 weeks keeping me alive. That's more than a job. That's sacrifice. Someone had to. The ambassador smiled. General Hayes said you would say that. He knows you well. Too well, sir. He also said you're the best pilot he ever commanded. The bravest person he knows. And after these 2 weeks, I believe him. Sarah felt uncomfortable with the praise. She always did. Sir, hundreds of pilots would have done the same thing. I'm not special. You are special, Colonel. Because when that captain screamed for a fighter pilot, you could have stayed in your seat. You could have pretended you didn't hear. You were on vacation. It wasn't your problem. But you stood up anyway. You walked into danger. You saved everyone. That's what makes you special. Not your skills. Your choice. Sarah hadn't thought about it that way. But he was right. She had made a choice. To help. To fight. To protect. I'd make that choice again, sir. Every time. I know you would. That's why you're a hero. I'm not a hero. I'm just a pilot. Ambassador Chin smiled. Then the world needs more pilots like you, Colonel. He walked away. Back to the cameras. The celebration. Sarah slipped out quietly. No fanfare. No interviews. Just walked out. Outside, General Hayes was waiting. Nice work, Sarah. Thanks, sir. So, what now? Back to vacation? Sarah looked up at the sky. Clear blue. Perfect flying weather. Actually, sir, I was thinking. Maybe retirement is overrated. General Hayes raised an eyebrow. Meaning? Meaning maybe I'm not done yet. Maybe the world still needs pilots. Maybe I still have missions to fly. Are you saying you want to come back? Sarah nodded slowly. Not full-time. But reserves. Consultant. When you need someone for the impossible missions. The ones nobody else can handle. I always need someone for those missions, Sarah. Then call me. Anytime. I'll be ready. Even if you're sleeping on a plane? Sarah laughed. Especially then. Apparently, that's when I do my best work. General Hayes shook her hand. Welcome back, Colonel. The Air Force missed you. I missed it too, sir. More than I thought. She walked toward her car. Free. Alive. Ready for whatever came next. Behind her, the general called out, Sarah. One more thing. She turned. Sir? Thank you. For never giving up. For always being ready. For being exactly who we needed, exactly when we needed you. Sarah smiled. That's what pilots do, sir. We show up. We fight. We win. And we never, ever quit. She drove away. The sun setting behind her. Ready for the next mission. The next fight. The next time someone needed a fighter pilot. Because Sarah Mitchell had learned something important over 214 missions. Heroism isn't about being fearless. It's about being afraid and doing it anyway. It's about sleeping peacefully one moment and running toward danger the next. It's about making the choice to stand up when everyone else is sitting down. It's about being ready. Always ready. Even when you're just trying to take a nap. This story is about ordinary people doing extraordinary things. Sarah wasn't looking for trouble. She was just tired. Just wanted to sleep. Just wanted peace. But when the moment came, she answered the call. That's the real lesson. Not that we need to be fighter pilots or soldiers or heroes. But that we need to be ready. Ready to help. Ready to stand up. Ready to do what's right even when it's hard. Because you never know when someone will scream, "Any fighter pilots on board?" And you never know if you're the only one who can answer.